This lesson is going to teach you everything you need to know about leverage so that you can avoid mistakes in the market. So, first of all, what you're going to see and read next is going to seem complex at first. That is because trading is complex and difficult. You need to understand leverage because smart money understand leverage and dumb money doesn't. Smart money takes money from dumb money who are lazy, arrogant, or ignorant. If you choose to remain lazy, arrogant, or ignorant, you will lose money and you will not make it in trading. So let's teach you what the smart money know so that you can compete on a level playing field with them. First, let's talk through some terms in leverage. Collateral, start from the basics. The assets that you must hold in your account as a form of security to cover potential losses. Most common form of collateral is USDT. So collateral is the stuff you need to use to trade with. Leverage is where you borrow money from the exchange. To borrow money, they have to lend it to you. To lend it to you, it has to be in some form. The most common is USDT, and USDT perpetual futures are the ones I recommend you use. Next, we have margin. Margin is the amount of collateral that you must hold in your account as the form of security to cover those losses. Sounds similar to collateral, but it's different. Collateral is the actual thing, USDT. Margin is the amount of the thing you need. Yeah. Then we have the initial margin, also known as the cost. This is the amount of collateral required to open a position in perpetual futures. The initial margin is set by the exchange and may be different for each coin and each exchange. Very important. So now we know the cost. So the amount you actually need to open a position is the cost, just like the cost of doing business in anything. The amount you put forward is the initial margin. Then we have the maintenance margin rate, MMR. The maintenance margin is the minimum amount of collateral required to keep a position open in perpetual futures. So once you're actually in the position and it's in profit or in loss, you have what's called a maintenance margin that you have to maintain. It's a percentage you must maintain in order to keep that position from getting liquidated. When the losses will exceed your maintenance margin, you'll be liquidated. The maintenance margin rate is a percentage of the notional size of your position. It's very, very, very important. Always know the MMR for your coin. Again, like the initial margin, it's set by the exchange and it's different for each coin and it's different for each exchange. Then we have the notional size, also known as the value. This is the total value of your position when it's actually open. Notional size is always in dollars. That's what notional means. It's the number of coins, your position size, multiplied by the current price of one coin. And this, as you'd expect, changes in real time. If you buy one Bitcoin at 30K, you go long one Bitcoin at 30K, your notional size is 30,000. If Bitcoin then goes to 35, your notional size is now 35,000. Similarly, if it drops to 25,000, it's now 25. Leverage. We still hadn't talked about it till now because leverage comes last. I want you to remember that. Leverage comes last. It does not matter how much leverage you use. What matters is how much money you risk on each trade. If you've got $1,000 in your portfolio, okay, your total account size is $1,000 and you have it stored on your wallet, and you want to risk 1% on each trade, which is a sensible risk, your stop loss should be set to lose $10, regardless of leverage. Make sense? $10 is 1% of 1,000. So your stop loss is more important than the leverage you use. If wherever your stop loss is means that you have lost $10, you have managed your risk. How do we then get leverage? Leverage is simply the amount you need to borrow from the exchange after you know your entry, stop loss, and notional position size. Okay? That's why I say leverage comes last. You have to calculate everything else first before leverage. And the leverage that you require will be different for each trade. Internalize that. The leverage required will be different for each trade. So if you see people saying, I'm going 50x long or 10x long or 5x long, it doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Every trade is different. Based on your entry, your stop loss, and your available balance, your leverage will be different every time. So the calculation, if you ever need for leverage, very, very simple, is your risk divided by your entry minus stop loss. So your risk in dollar terms, the amount you want to lose if you're wrong, divided by the entry price minus the stop loss price. That's it. That gives you a position size that you need to place, and then we take from that leverage. For example, stick with the $10. You want to risk $10, 1% of your portfolio on an atom long trade. So your entry would be $10.60. So that's the price of atom. We're going to buy atom at $10.60. We're going to put our stop loss at $10.10. How you calculate from there is you take the $10 risk, divided by the entry minus the stop, which is $10.60 minus $10.10, which is 50 cents, which gives you 20. That means you need to buy 20 atom, because if you buy 20 atom at $10.60 and it hits your stop loss at $10.10, you will lose $10 from your portfolio. Perfect. Managed risk. Next, you calculate the notional size of that, because you need to know what 20 atom is in dollar terms. That's how you then finally get to your leverage. So we have 20 atom, we multiply it by the price at entry, which is 1060, which gives us $212. So now, finally, we can calculate the leverage. The leverage is simply the amount you have to borrow from the exchange to open a $212 position. Let's go onto the exchange and look at an example to make it more clear for you. We are here on Atom. I have placed the position tool to show you the entry at 1060, the stop loss at 1010, okay? We know that we need to buy 20 Atom if we want to risk $10. So we go to our order form, we type in the order price in a limit order, which is 1060, okay? Because price is up here and we're entering down here, we use a limit order because we have to wait for price to come down to get filled. You saw that in a previous lesson. We know we need 20 Atom. Now we put a stop loss at 1010 and we make sure that we're doing things right. We put that in, we look at the automatic calculator, which says your expected loss will be $10. Perfect. So we know that's going well. We know that's working. Now we look at the value. It's 212. See the green? Green for long, red for short. We're going long, 212. Perfect. Everything's going great so far. We're currently setting up our trade well. Now we need to enter that trade so that it goes on the exchange. This is where leverage comes in, because as you see, I have 1x leverage, which means no leverage. It's just flat. I go and I click buy long and it fails. Order submission failed, insufficient available margin. Well, why is that? That's because in this account, as you can see at the bottom, I have $84 available. So if I have $84, but the value is 212 and the cost is 212 and a little bit extra for fees, I cannot open that position. I have 84, the cost is 212. So what do? Now we use leverage. So very simply, I want to move the leverage bar across until I have enough collateral for the cost of the trade. So if I move it to 2x and I confirm, we'll see that the cost is now 106. The cost is basically gone in half because I'm using 2x leverage. But that's no good. I have $84. The cost is 106. Still too expensive. I can't do it. So I move it again. Let's say we go to 3. Now, look, the cost is 70, roughly, and I have 84. My risk is still 10. I'm still getting 20 Atom, and my order price is correct. My stop loss is correct. Now I can buy long, and it will execute. It won't fail. It now goes on the exchange. Note at this point, you might say, where's the stop loss? On this exchange, every exchange is different, but on Bybit, when this actually fills, the stop loss will immediately get added there. So don't worry, that will get added on at the time. So that is how you calculate leverage. You notice that it was the last thing I did. You have to understand where you're entering, where your stop loss is, and your size and your notional size, and then how much equity you have in your account before you worry about the leverage. So I just set it at 3x, and you see now that I have an available balance of 13. That means it's taken the $70 that were needed and tied them up for this trade. So if I wanted to make any other trades, I now only have $13 to work with, and that is how you manage your risk with your collateral. That explains how to set trades up and how to manage and calculate your leverage.